Thank you for your love, your constant support, and every generous donation that helps this mission grow. Your presence here means more than words can express. With gratitude and light, have you ever felt that you perceive the world in a different way? That you feel too much, understand what no one says, and carry a weight you can't explain? That has a name. It's spiritual. And God entrusted this to you for a greater reason. This is the call of the blue power. The blue power isn't just a gift. It's a mark, a deep sensitivity that transforms environments, moves people in silence, and makes you a direct channel between heaven and earth. What many call weakness, God calls a tool. And now is the time to recognize and activate what has always been inside you. If this message has already made your heart race, don't ignore it. God brought you here for a purpose. You carry something special, rare, and necessary. Don't let the world silence what heaven has placed in you. It's time to awaken. It's time to accept you were chosen. Subscribe to the channel now. No fuss. Just click and turn on the bell. This space exists to remind you of who you are and to activate everything that's sleeping inside you. Here, you are not alone. My name is George, and if this made sense to you, it's because the activation has already begun. I'm here to guide you through this awakening, with truth, faith, and direction. Let's go together. You feel the world in a way that no one else understands. A look, a silence, a different presence. All of it affects you. Since you were little, something has always made you feel out of place, as if there were a layer of reality that only you can see. This isn't just sensitivity. This is the blue power that God placed in you. The blue power is a gift reserved for a few. It isn't something you learn, nor something you choose. It is entrusted, and you were one of the chosen. This power does not appear with noise or visible signs. It works in the invisible, in the feeling that overwhelms you, in the intuition that guides you, in the presence you carry without knowing. Perhaps you grew up thinking that feeling too much was a flaw, that crying for no reason, getting emotional over small things, noticing when someone is not well. All of this made you weak. But God did not create you weak. He made you sensitive, because He knew that only those who feel are able to touch where words do not reach. The blue power is this silent anointing that transforms environments. You arrive at a place and something changes. Someone breathes better. Another opens up out of nowhere. People feel safe near you, even without knowing how to explain. This does not come from your appearance or your speech. It comes from what God activated within you. And the most beautiful thing about the blue power is that it works in secret. It heals in silence. It consoles without fanfare. It perceives what no one sees. That's why often you feel overwhelmed, even when you haven't done anything great. Your spirit is at work, even when your mind doesn't understand. How many times have you slept tired in a way that didn't make sense, or felt sudden sadness, even when everything seemed fine? This happens because the blue power connects you to invisible pains. You feel what others cannot express. And this connection is part of your calling. God entrusted you with this gift because He knew you would have the courage to feel. Even when the world says it's better to ignore. Even when everything pushes you to be hard, pragmatic, and distant. But you can't. Because what is in you is spiritual. It's rare. It's necessary. and it's active all the time. The world does not understand the blue power. That's why it tries to silence those who possess it. Makes it seem like exaggeration, drama, neediness. But God does not see it that way. He knows your essence. He knows that what you feel comes from above. That this gift is not a weight. It is a mission. And it is being awakened now. This awakening does not happen all at once. It starts when you stop fleeing. When you accept that your difference is not a mistake. When you understand that your sensitivity does not distance you from God. It brings you closer. And that the blue power isn't about you being special, but about you being available. You were chosen, not to shout, but to carry, not to impress, but to transform. The blue power acts where no one sees, and now that you know what you carry, everything begins to change. Because when the gift is recognized, it begins to flow. And when it flows, lives are touched. The blue power is silent, but it never goes unnoticed. It doesn't need applause, a stage, or explanation. It simply manifests, sometimes in a hug, other times in a look that conveys relief. This power does not shout. It touches, it soothes, it restores. And you were chosen to carry it in all that you are and do. This gift wasn't given to you by accident. God entrusted the blue power to people who had the courage to feel deeply, because it takes a lot of strength to carry another's pain without fleeing. It takes faith to keep feeling when everything around you says you should protect yourself. But you remain, and that has power. Perhaps you've never connected the dots, but you've noticed how people change around you. Some open up for no reason. Others cry just by your presence. This doesn't happen because you're special in the eyes of the world. It happens because what you have comes from heaven. It's the blue power in action. It acts as a bridge. You become a channel between what is divine and what is broken. God uses you to reach hearts that are closed. Sometimes one word from you heals more than an entire sermon. Sometimes you don't even speak, but your presence already resolves. That's anointing. That's calling. On the outside, it may look ordinary, but inside, something moves when you arrive. The atmosphere changes, the energy adjusts, the environment responds. This is the reflection of what you carry. And the most beautiful part is that you don't even control it. You simply are. And by being who you are, heaven operates through your existence. It's not always easy to carry this power. There are days when everything weighs on you. You feel pains you don't know where they come from. You become exhausted even without physical exertion. This happens because your spirit is at work in places your mind hasn't reached yet. The blue power acts in the invisibles, and you feel the impact of that. But don't give up because of fatigue. This weight you feel isn't punishment. It's evidence that you are being used, that your gift is active, that God is moving you in directions that aren't always visible, but are powerful. Heaven acts through your simplest gestures. The spiritual world recognizes what's inside you. That's why often you face battles without explanation. It seems resistance is greater, challenges more intense. But it's not because you're weak. It's because you carry something that disturbs the darkness. The blue power is light, and light always confronts the dark. There are moments when you'll feel alone, when no one will understand you. And that's okay. Not everyone was called to feel what you feel, but heaven has never left you. On the contrary, It was in silence that the gift grew. It was in hidden tears that your anointing strengthened. There comes a point when you can't ignore it anymore. You realize your life has never been ordinary, that your sensitivity has always had a purpose, and that what you called excess was, in fact, direction. The blue power doesn't appear with fanfare, but it transforms everything it touches, including you. Now that you know what you carry, stop hiding. The world needs your light. It needs your presence. It needs this gift that God activated in you. The blue power is real. It is strong and it is flowing. The only thing it needs is a willing heart, and yours is already ready. Carrying the blue power is a gift, but it is also a weight that few can understand. Those who have this gift live different battles. They are silent wars that no one sees. On the outside, you smile. On the inside, you wage deep spiritual battles. Because the greater the gift, the greater the resistance that tries to stop you. Many times, you feel a fatigue that makes no sense. You sleep the whole night and still wake up exhausted. It seems the body is fine, but the spirit is overloaded. This happens because the blue power connects you with invisible pains. You feel what others cannot explain. It's as if you fight for them without realizing it. There are days when sadness hits from nowhere. You look around and everything seems fine, but something inside you screams. An unnamed anguish, a restlessness that tightens the chest. In these moments, what is happening is spiritual. It's as if heaven calls you to intercede, even without understanding the reason. Because you carry this gift, you attract attacks. And they are not physical or obvious attacks. They are subtle temptations, doubts that arise, sudden discouragements. The enemy doesn't want to take away your faith all at once. He tries to silence the gift. He tries to convince you that feeling too much is weakness. But feeling is your strength. It's your channel. How many times have you tried to fit in just to be accepted? You silenced yourself to not seem too intense. You hid your tears, disguised what you felt, tried to pretend you didn't care. But that only pushed you away from your essence. Because the blue power does not work on the surface. It needs your truth. You were trained in a different way. While others learned from books, you learned from deep experiences. While others memorized phrases, you absorbed feelings. While others looked at the external, you saw what was behind. And because of this, your journey was lonelier, but also more spiritual. Some call this drama. They said you think too much, feel too much, exaggerate. But God never asked you to feel less. He only wants you to understand why all of this exists. What seems like excess is in fact trained sensitivity. What seems like weakness is a powerful weapon against the invisible. And the enemy knows this. Therefore, he tries to distract you, silence you, make you doubt yourself. But every time you reconnect with God, the gift begins to pulse again. Because the blue power does not disappear. It may fall asleep, but it never goes out. It's there, waiting to be activated again. You do not need to understand everything right now. You only need to recognize that your sensitivity is part of your purpose, that your pain carries direction, that your tears are seeds of healing. God does not waste any of your feelings. He transforms each emotion into something that touches lives. And He does this through the gift He entrusted to you. Do not let the weight paralyze you. Use it as a push. Every time the struggle seems greater, remember, it is because what you carry has value. Heaven invested in you. and it was not by chance. You carry the blue power, and it continues to operate even when you think you're standing still. The time has come to look at everything you have lived with fresh eyes. Nothing was in vain. Every silence, every tear, every hidden pain, all of it prepared you. Now you understand that these silent struggles were, in fact, the forge of those who carry an eternal calling, and you were approved. The blue power is not made to call attention. It does not reveal itself with noise, nor does it need a stage. It is a silent mission, invisible to the eyes but real in the spirit. You were chosen to serve discreetly, yet powerfully. Where many pass by without noticing, you feel, welcome, discern, and act with wisdom. God entrusted this gift to you because He knew you would not use it to exalt yourself. He knew you would act in secret, with humility and compassion. The blue power operates in the margins. It is what makes you stop everything to listen to someone. It is what moves you to pray for a person without them asking. It is a discreet yet deep calling. Perhaps you have never seen yourself as someone on a mission. But notice, how many times has someone left better off after talking with you? How many times has a simple look of yours brought relief to someone? That is a mission. That is spiritual service. And often you don't even realize you are being used. The beauty of the blue power is that it acts when you simply are who you are. It does not require performance. It does not depend on pretty words. Your presence already carries a bit of heaven. You enter a room and something changes. Someone feels at peace. Another feels seen. This is the fruit of the anointing that is on you. This mission has no manual. It is guided by the Spirit. Therefore, there are days when you are compelled to call someone, even for no reason. On other days, you feel a weight and don't understand where it comes from. Often this is God activating you to intercede, even if you don't know exactly what is happening. You are like an antenna. You pick up spiritual frequencies that others ignore. And this doesn't happen by accident. You were set apart to be a point of connection between heaven and people. The blue power turns you into a bridge. Your life is the path God chose to reach hearts that are wounded and distant. The most beautiful part is that this mission does not require perfection. You don't need to be someone without faults. On the contrary, it is precisely your vulnerability that God uses. Your own pains make you more sensitive to another's pain. What you have lived through has prepared you to understand who today suffers in silence. And that changes everything. Because now you understand that you are not here by accident. Your existence has a purpose. What you feel has direction. And what you do, even if it seems small, has eternal value. The blue power acts in the detail, in the light touch, in the right word, at the exact moment. Even without awareness, you have carried people with your prayers. You have been a shelter with your listening. You have been a cure with your empathy. This is the mission that many do not see, but heaven values deeply, because God sees what happens in secret and rewards it with purpose. There will be days when you feel tired, when you will doubt whether you are really making a difference. In those moments, remember, your calling does not depend on what others see. It depends on obedience to what you feel. Heaven acts where there is surrender, and you have been doing that for a long time. The blue power does not require you to shine in the eyes of the world. It only asks that you continue to be light where everything seems dark. And even if no one applauds, know, your mission is being fulfilled, and every life touched by you is already a seed planted for something far greater than you can imagine. Carrying the blue power is carrying something that cannot always be explained, but that is always felt. It is like walking with the heart exposed. You feel what is behind the words, perceive hidden pains, identify dangers that no one mentions, and all of this weighs. It weighs on the mind, it weighs on the body, it weighs on the soul. There are days when fatigue arrives for no reason. You wake up already exhausted, even having slept well. This happens because your spirit absorbs what is around you. The environment affects you. The emotions of others touch you. The pain of the world leans on you, as if choosing you to intercede. This weight is not a punishment. It is part of the mission. The blue power does not act lightly, because it carries healing. And all healing requires surrender. What you feel is not just yours. Often it is the spiritual burden of others, placed on you because God knows you will endure and pray. You did not ask for this gift, but it is there. And heaven entrusted to you something that requires responsibility. Therefore, many times you feel you cannot relax, that you need to be alert all the time, as if your sensitivity were always on, even when you just want to rest a little. There are times when you want to switch off, stop feeling, stop noticing, but you can't. The gift has no pause button. And that can seem unfair, but God never gives you something you cannot carry. He strengthens you in the process. Even when you don't feel it, He is there, sustaining you inside. This silent weight that accompanies you is in fact a kind of spiritual combat. It's as if your life is constantly at war, even in calm moments. Because what you carry is annoying. Your presence moves atmospheres. Your spirit rises when evil tries to approach. You have probably noticed this. Strange situations happen around you for no clear reason. People who were fine suddenly transform. The climate changes. Peace vanishes. And you feel, sometimes, even without knowing why. But all of this shows how the blue power reacts to what is invisible. The weight you feel is often the reflection of a battle that didn't start in you, but passes through you because you are a bridge. You are spiritual covering for people who don't even know it. You intercede, carry, sustain, often in silence, while the world remains distracted. And as painful as it is, this is part of your purpose. You were not called to be ordinary. Heaven separated you to live with depth, with intensity, and with impact. Even if they don't notice, even if they don't understand, God sees everything and honors every tear shed in silence. When you feel this weight again, take a deep breath and remember, this is also ministry. What you are living is not in vain. It is the Spirit acting through you, sometimes without warning, sometimes without visible reward, but always with an eternal result. Because what comes from heaven is never small. You may not see the fruits now, but they are being planted with every prayer said in silence, every time you comfort someone without words, every moment you feel and pray without knowing the reason. This is the blue power being used exactly as God planned. Getting here wasn't easy. You read, felt, reflected, and even without understanding everything, something inside you moved. This movement isn't small. It's the sign that the activation of the blue power has already begun. It's no longer theory. nor a distant promise. It's reality. It's present. It's now. What you carry isn't an ordinary gift. It's a spiritual mark, a silent code that only the chosen bear. For a long time you tried to adapt to the world, but now you understand. You weren't born to fit in. You were born to transform. The blue power doesn't isolate you. It positions you. You're not an accident. You're not an exaggerator. Nor are you too fragile. You are sensitive because you were created that way. God designed you with this sensitivity because He knew it would be the path to heal, welcome, guide. What many avoid feeling, you feel deeply, and that is exactly what heaven uses. This activation is invisible, yet powerful. It begins with consciousness. When you stop apologizing for being who you are, when you stop hiding what you feel, when you understand that feeling isn't a problem, it's a tool. It is the way heaven speaks to you, and also through you. Now that you recognize what you carry, everything changes. You begin to realize that every difficult moment prepared you. Every silence was a polish, every tear, a warning. Nothing was for nothing. The sensitivity that almost suffocated you today frees you, because now you know it has direction, and that direction comes from God. Perhaps the journey still seems confusing, perhaps the questions continue. But don't worry about all the answers now. The activation doesn't require total clarity. It requires surrender. From the moment you accept the call, heaven begins to guide you, step by step, day after day. Don't be so hard on yourself. You don't need to get everything right. You simply need to be available. The blue power doesn't demand perfection. It demands truth. It manifests in small gestures, in sincere words, in the hug that calms, in the prayer that no one sees. That is where your mission begins to bear fruit. Your walk doesn't end here. In fact, it's just beginning. Now with more awareness, more faith, more identity. What was once confusing now makes sense. You realize that pain had purpose, that silence was protection, that sensitivity was power in disguise as weakness. If for a long time you doubted yourself, today is the day to end that doubt. You were chosen, separated, marked, and nothing can erase what God placed inside you. Neither fear nor criticism, nor the past. Heaven has already recognized you, and the blue power is already flowing. Your presence is needed. Your listening is healing. Your sensitivity is a tool. Every time you take a stand, even fearfully, you move forward. Every time you choose to feel instead of fleeing, heaven responds. You do not walk alone. The gift in you is proof that the Spirit is guiding you. So continue. Even without understanding everything, even if no one sees, even if it hurts at times. Continue. The blue power was activated not to imprison you, but to set you free. And now that you have recognized this, nothing will be the same.